Hi, my name is Riley Snyder. I'm a senior here at the University of Mount Union. Today I'll be doing a little presentation from my capstone class that is titled Literacy. The title of my presentation, as you can read, is Digital Literacy. That is kind of the main type of literacy that I'll be focusing in on today. I will be talking about what it is, and then I will also be relating it to my future field, which is to be a future educator. So I'll be kind of talking about the importance of digital literacy in the education field today. So to get started, we're going to talk about, so what is literacy? So before taking this class, and a lot of people think the same thing too as what I thought, I just thought literacy was as simple as the ability to read and write. I didn't really think there was much more to that, but I was clearly proved wrong by taking this course and just by reading certain summaries that were provided to us, and also the articles, and getting to hear my classmates as well as my professor's point of view on the topic of literacy. My mind was kind of blown a little bit by what I learned. So the basic kind of definition of literacy from UNESCO is the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials associated with varying contexts. So as you can clearly see there, that is a lot more than just having the ability to read and write. So along with all these different definitions of literacy that we do have now, there's also different types of literacies. So there's not just one overall arching thing of literacy. There's many different kind of subcategories, I would say. So like I already introduced mine, that I will be talking about digital literacy. This is a type of literacy that falls under the big overall category of literacy. There's much more different plenty more different types of literacy, just to name a few, like financial literacy, technology literacy. So there's hundreds of them out there. And again, they're always going to be changing and evolving, because as new technologies are being created, it's always creating new literacies, because we have to learn how to be literate to use those technologies in everyday life. So without them, we wouldn't be considered literate anymore nowadays. So now, like I said, I'm going to be kind of focusing on what digital literacy is, just so to let you all know what digital literacy is. So according to the author Heighton of his article, What is Digital Literacy? He defines digital literacy as the ability to use information and communication technologies to find, evaluate, create, and communicate information, requiring both cognitive and technical skills. So as you can see here, it is much more than just reading and writing, and it kind of shows you more how you have to use the technologies in ways to find information, be able to communicate, and this is super important in today's world. Again, like I said, with all these new technologies, most stuff is done online, so we don't really have all the paper stuff, so it's important that you know how to do this so you're able to be successful, whether that's in school, work, even just kind of everyday life. So now we're going to talk about, so what does it mean to actually be literate when it comes to digital literacy? So it does require skills, knowledge, and understanding to create and practice safe use of digital technologies. The key word in there is kind of safe use. It is super important to teach. Like I said, I want to be a teacher, so it's important for me to teach my students the safety of it, but it's also super important for everyone else to know. You need to know if what you're reading on the internet is true, if it's safe, if it's credible. We don't want to be believing something that is way out there. So that's a huge part of digital literacy, is practicing safe use of the technologies. So it also kind of has three parts to being digitally literate. So the first is finding and consuming the digital content. So like I said, like I mentioned earlier, this is practicing that safe use of it. It's important to know and how to find these credible sources and articles when you're looking to find information on something. You can't always believe the first thing you see. Like even when you Google something, it's always smart to not just click the first one, even though it's like the most popular one, because it may not always be true. You need to find multiple sources that kind of back that up, and that's a huge part of playing and being digitally literate. The second part is being able to create this digital content. So this is super important for me as a future educator. I need to be able to create different things to give to my students, whether that's activities that are online, homeworks, that kind of stuff. It's super important to provide that and be able to do that for them, so they kind of get to practice using the technology in the classroom. And the third one is being able to communicate and share with others. So this is super important too for everyone. A lot of times today we don't really communicate by talking face to face. A lot of times it's done over email, messaging, texting, via like FaceTime calls. So it's super important to be literate when it comes to that, to know how to use them, to know how to correctly use them, how to professionally use them, and not just like send a text message with the smiley face and that thing. It's super important to know how to be professional when you're sending a professional confidential message to someone. So now, like I said, I really want to touch on what digital literacy is in education. So there are different things that it does cover. It does cover the students' functional skills. It does cover their communication. It helps them to learn to find and evaluate information. It activates their critical thinking skills, and it also makes them cultural and social understanding. So these are all super important things to have. I mean, functional skills is kind of something all students need, but again, the communication, it's important for students to know how to send an email, because I personally know before coming to college, it was never something I really had to do, so it's kind of something I had to learn on my own. So I think that's super important for the younger educators to teach this to their students, so they know by the time they get to high school or college, they know how to send those professional emails. And again, the finding and evaluating information, this is super important with everyday life. Even like anything you read in the news, you want to have it backed up. Doing research projects, they need to be able to find credible sources that are reliable, have correct information, aren't just feeding them random, not right facts. And then again, I really like the part where it exposes them to cultural and social understanding. I think this is super duper important today. Like anymore, reading out of a textbook really isn't going to cut it. It's too simple. And again, it doesn't really give a wide variety. It's kind of cut and put to the point, where when they get to use the internet and technologies, they're exposed to so much more and so many different points of views. A lot of times textbooks are really simple, like I said, and they can kind of be biased. So I think it's super important to expand our kids on their knowledge and show them different things and expose them to stuff at an early age. And using digital literacy is a super awesome way to do this in the classroom. Now I kind of want to touch on the types of digital literacies that I see personally being used. I'm in my preclinical right now, and I kind of see these ones being used every day, so I think it's super important for everyone to kind of know about these. So the first one is Google Classroom and Schoology. So this is literally taking the classroom in person and putting it on the computer or on the iPad, that kind of thing. It's super awesome. This is, the kids love it. It's super easy for them to do. It has all their assessments, homework, quizzes, tests, all of that stuff online, super accessible. Another thing is Zoom. This is a way to have meetings when they're not face-to-face. It's through virtual. I know parent-teacher conferences are doing it right now this way, and it's working out super well for the teachers and the parents. Another platform is YouTube. There's super awesome videos out there for parents, kids, teachers to use to engage students in lessons. Quizlet and Kahoot, another awesome way to have students study. It's kind of like a study thing to help them if they have a big quiz assessment. Kids love it. They think it's so fun too. And then again, Google, Wikipedia, search engine. So super important to know how to use these to find and evaluate that crucial information you want to get all the right information. So now I'm going to talk about some ways to incorporate these technologies into education. So the first way is providing opportunities. I know that I read an article that was done in London about how they provided students all with tablets in the classroom and see how it went. I think this is super awesome. It lets students have the opportunity to do trial and error, to learn and grow. I know at my school right now for preclinical, all students do have a Chromebook, so it is super awesome. It gives them the chance to practice these skills and techniques that they will need to use in the future. So super awesome. And again, for the teachers to use that every day also will help enhance those skills. Again, like I said, research, super important. The e-safety, learning what's right, what's wrong, what's the good websites, what's the ones to stay away from, that kind of stuff. And again, email and messaging. Like I said, I didn't know how to email message before coming into college, so this is something I think is really, really, really important for educators to start doing at such a young age, is teaching this professionalism to students. So by the time they get to college, they already know how to do it. It's easy for them. And then now I'm going to talk about the importance of digital literacy today. So like I said, anytime there's invention of new technologies, there's always a new literacy being created. And with digital literacy, it kind of falls under there. So it's super important to always know what's the newest, how to use it, so you can let others know. You can use it in your work, use it in your school, kind of be the highest and most advanced. You want to get the most out of everything. The importance of digital literacy, it's also kind of environmentally friendly. Without having these constant printing off papers, using the ink, using all that kind of stuff. It does help the environment. We're not constantly wasting papers. If it's done virtually, you send it in virtually. No papers need to be printed. If they mess up, nothing has to be crinkled up, throw it away. You can just backspace it or erase it that way. So I think that's also a super awesome thing of using digital literacy today, is helping the environment out. And again, with our current state of our country with COVID-19, it's super important because people can't attend work or school in person all the time. A lot of people are doing it from home, so using the video conferences like Zoom and Microsoft Teams, you might not be able to attend or even get paid to go to your job if you can't attend these meetings, so it's super important to know how to use that. And then again, the communication through email is super important again because we can't have those face-to-face interactions. You need to have other ways to communicate. So with the current state of the pandemic, academic, I think digital literacy is super duper important. But so I just wanted to thank you all for sitting and listening to me talk about digital literacy today. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you are more interested and want to know more about digital literacy, and that if you're a future educator, you can use it in your classroom one day. So thank you.